Hey out there, this is Thursday, April 8th, 2021, and it is just about a minute and a half, 2 minutes past 8 in the morning here in Northern California. Excuse me. First time I've talked all day. So, anyhow, today I'm going to get into various things, and I'm going to try to be brief, but I'm always saying that, and I end up pontificating and I can be a really long winded guy when I'm trying to get frustrations off my shoulders and try to share with people what the solutions are to our problems, where we have power and where we don't have power. I get into economic matters because I think it's important that people are empowered by understanding basic economic principles and the dire nature of tolerating perpetual watering down of our currency, and how this is really normalizing over a long period of time, gradually normalizing slavery. It's not based on skin color or anything else, gender. It's based upon your profession, basically. And there's a few niches people get into with a profession. Maybe a union is protecting them, something of that nature. But for the most part, many professions are cheated out of fair pay. And there was a time in this country, if you look back in our recent history, when it was deemed necessary to come up with a federal minimum wage law. And it was based on something. They didn't just pull a number out of the air. It was based on the buying power of the dollar at that time. And it was based on a standard of living. And it was based on a cost of living, the consumer price index. So it was a well thought out, calculated figure that they came up with. And according to capitalism, the law of supply and demand, and the natural progression of human ingenuity in the industrial age being in full bloom and technology, just everything's out of control in terms of making it easier and easier and easier to produce all the things we want and need. So even a child, I could explain to a child why the price for stuff should come down naturally. If we're working as a so-called civilized society, a civilization of human beings trying to live together in peace and harmony, safety, security, freedom and prosperity, not for a select group of people because they chose the right profession, but for all the inhabitants of the planet. Okay, there's no logical basis to deny these things from people. Okay, it's basic human rights. It's the right to be happy, the right to figure out what's bugging you, because likely there's a lot of stuff bugging you, just like there's a lot of stuff bugging me. Okay, and you need to differentiate between those things. What's bugging you could be organic. It could be a disease that you have, an ailment, an affliction, or maybe somebody you know, a friend, family member. There's a lot of stuff that I call organic. You got to put that into the organic category because that's across the board. It doesn't discriminate. It's not biased. It's just one of those things we all have to deal with as human beings. Okay, and death is at the top of that list of things that can bug a human being. Okay, the most, because that is a big deal. Okay, dying yourself or loved ones dying, that's a big deal. And you know, it's so important to have the right perception, the right perspective about these things. And since I was a little kid, I go back as far back as 6, 7 years old, I can remember wondering about this thing we call death. You hear about it, you see it on TV. Even as a little kid, you watch the news, you know there's this thing called death. And it's a bad thing, it's a horrible thing. You learn about murderers at an early age, the boogeyman, and all that stuff. So it's important to have the right perspective on these very critical issues to us psychologically. These are organic issues that could be bugging us. Understand that. All of us, you know. I tell you, to this day, to me, the worst part about dying, because my family knows that I don't want to be cremated. I would prefer to be put in a hole in the ground in a box, preferably a cedar box filled with cedar sawdust shavings. Okay. But you know what really bothers me is this law we have about embalming people. You know, it bugs me. Even though I know I'm a lifeless corpse, I can't feel a thing. I know that. It's just a body. I get that, logically speaking. But it's dirty work. Okay, you'd have to be one sick puppy to enjoy that job. Okay, I feel so. I don't want people to do my dirty work. Okay, and that's kind of making, because I die, I don't have any choice, right? Like you don't have a choice. And then this person or these get stuck with this dirty job. This is horrible. I could never do a job like that. I could never be a medical examiner, coroner, any of that stuff, man. When you're dead, you're dead. I mean, these forensic detectives, I admire all this stuff, but they got to find another way to get their evidence. Okay, other than the initial, okay, we see what happened here. Okay, if you can't figure it out, don't figure it out. But you know what? There's other ways to get your evidence. Okay, I have nothing to do with it. As far as I'm concerned, just put me in a hole. Okay, get rid of me as quick as possible. Cover me up. Put me in a box. Put me in a hole, and say your farewell till we meet again. Okay, on the other side of this veil. Because I hope to see a lot of people, friends and family. Hell, I'd like to make everybody my friend, but some people are bent on being your enemy, and there's not a damn thing I can do about that. That's their prerogative. I tell them, I'm no threat. There's no logical reason, no justification, no basis for you to not consider me your friend. I'm a friend of my enemies. I'm the best friend, even though I might excoriate them at times. But look what Christ did. Okay, he had no ulterior motive. It wasn't like he was trying to be big man on campus and put down these religious leaders of the time, these legalists. No, it's a bad religion, he said to himself, and he had to let them know that it was appalling. It offended God. You're trying to usurp God's position as the sovereign authority of humanity's existence. But they want you to go to the priest, and they want you to put stock in the state, that believe these religious leaders. It's a religion in and of itself. It's this secularism sounds so innocuous. Atheism and all this sounds so innocuous. Oh, we're the scientific ones, right? We lead the universities, and we teach all these people with all the acronyms behind their name that are running up the government and all this crap. It's paganism. That's the religion. We're in trouble as a race. And this fear and loathing, what does it produce? What are the effects of it? Misery. And you wonder why we run to so many vices and forms of escapism, self-flagellation, all this stupid stuff that's just spinning our wheels like insanity, beating our head against the wall, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Who hasn't done it? Habits are hard to break. It's called sin. It's the sinful nature. This goes back to the organic suffering we experience and why we experience it. We screwed up the earth, believe it or not, for all the other creatures. All this predator and prey crap. I'm not at all convinced that God gets a kick out of watching a lion take down a gazelle and rip its guts out and devour it. I don't see anything pleasurable about watching that. It's gross, man. It's like, dude, find something else to satisfy your need, in the flora. That's what I say, and we should evolve that way too. But am I a hypocrite because I eat fish? I'm not a vegetarian. You can't eat fish and call yourself a vegetarian. And hell, I'll eat a bird on a special occasion. Am I a hypocrite? Because I don't want to do the dirty work. I don't want to have to. It's miserable, man, catching a bird. I tried it once with a chicken. Try it. You love chicken. Oh, it tastes great, I'll admit. Beef and chicken, pork and lamb, all of it. I've enjoyed, yeah, absolutely. I get it. And it makes you feel good too. Nothing like the rush you get from a piece of red meat, right? All that iron and everything, the protein. That's a jolt to the system, makes you feel tough and strong. I get it. God gets it. I mean, I'm not judging anyone. My attitude is I really don't want to engage in it. I want to simplify my life. I don't want to make someone do my dirty work at a slaughterhouse and that sort of thing. Okay? I enjoy dairy products as much as probably the next guy. So there's nothing wrong with stealing a little bit of the milk from the cow. I mean, got all these cows. They wouldn't exist if we weren't farming them, raising them. So I'm not morally, I really don't think God's mad at anybody for eating meat. I really don't. I mean, Jesus himself was a meat eater. So, no, that's not it. But the point is that I think that it'd be nice to evolve to have a body where we could be satisfied on plant-based food. I really do. And the fact is that people that live on a primarily plant-based diet live the longest. Look at the Seventh-day Adventists. So, I mean, there's actual evidence, proof of what I'm saying. I'm not just making it up. You know, and I get so mad at, you see me go off on these ads for, against smoking. I get it. I'm not telling anyone to pick up. The worst part is the chemicals they add to this stuff. I mean, but, this is a habit that's been around for 5,000 years BC. Okay, so if they think they're going to end it by these freaky ads, I mean, how many more people are quitting? Are they running the numbers? Is it helping? Do they care? No, they just taking tons of money. They've got this usurious, burdensome tax on tobacco now. And a lot of people maybe I'm talking to, I don't know who I'm talking to, you might have voted for that tax. Well, there's evidence to suggest that too much red meat, your intestines are meat, right? Too much meat on meat contact causes gut cancers of various sorts. Polyps you've heard of, and colon cancer and all this, right? How does that sound? Like, would you like a disease like that? Well, how would you like it if I say, well, let's get a law. Let's see if we can get the votes together. And let's get a heavy tax, a burdensome tax. Your next pack of hamburger isn't going to cost you $5. It's going to cost you $25. How would you like that? And a warning label, a big fat warning label, and ads on TV showing people on their deathbed from colon and gut cancer. Would you like that? So you see where I'm coming from here? I don't like hypocrisy. The entire system is fraudulent, as far up one side, down the other, and to the nth degree. It makes no sense. There's no shortage of good basketball players, or rappers, or baseball players, or actors, or comedians. I've gotten addicted recently to this show in the morning, the Comics Unleashed, Byron Allen. I'm digging it. I mean, they got some good talent. And I admire comedians. I ask people, I meet people. I'd like to make them smile. I like to be witty, and just be trying to lighten up the mood a little bit. Okay, I don't walk around heavy all the time. It's not my thing. I get everything off my chest here. And if anybody really wants to know my innermost thoughts, they know where to go. Okay, and I'm sharing because I care about you. Why? Because I care about me. I'm just trying to be freaking happy. I'm just a normal, selfish, pitiable guy. A single man. He's a loser because I got no woman, not because I don't have any money.